So the Hamilton Warriors in the month of October get off to a 6-3-0 record as of this recording, putting them third place in their division, the Atlantic Division, just 2 points at a top spot. They also have 2 games in hand on the Florida Panthers. So the first thing we're going to quickly do is take a deep dive into team stats, where they land third place in their division. They're scoring 2.89 goals per game, which is not fantastic. They're also only allowing 2.22 goals per game, which is very, very good. 0 goals currently on the power play in 11 attempts. Only 11 times they have been to the power play in the first 9 games of the season. They have not scored a shorthanded goal, but they have been shorthanded 15 times. Good enough for 80% on the PK, which is not high enough, but the season is still young. They have scored a shorthanded goal. They're 5-2-0 at home, 1-1 on the road. And obviously 6-3-0 in their last 10. Where does that rank them in the National Hockey League? The entire National Hockey League, that puts them in 7th place. But when it comes to goals scored per game, they are actually one of the lesser teams. That puts them at 12th last in goals for per game. So when we back out of that and we look at how everybody is actually doing across the team, Hannu Lajunen, the 24-year-old who was picked up last season from the Arizona Coyotes, had only played 21 games in his National Hockey League career. He had 8 goals, 1 assist, 9 points before coming over to Hamilton at the trade deadline. Played the final 19 games of the season where he only had 3 goals, but he did have 11 points, was a plus 14. So far this season has exploded out of nowhere. A goal per game player, 2 assists, 11 points, and an astounding plus 8, shooting a ridiculous 37.5% for his career so far. He has now also made it to the conference finals of the Stanley Cup playoffs, where in, how many games was it? In 16 games. In round 1, the Hamilton Warriors swept. Who did they play in round 1? I believe they played the Tampa Bay Lightning in round 1, where they swept them. In round 2, they played the Boston Bruins. That series went 7. And then they lost in, I believe it was 5 in round 3. He did have 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points. Only 1 penalty taken, but the shooting definitely fell off. After him is Thatcher Lewis, the 25-year-old who was signed to a very, very nice contract, 7 years, $5.25 million AAV. He is now in the 2nd year of that extension, playing on the top line. He is the only person on the top line who is currently living up to expectations. Alex Texier had a very strong start to the season on the second line. Lane Pandolfo, the franchise captain of the team, finally has a 2-goal night, but it is a very down season. Super youngster Dylan Watt, who just, I believe, began, his $7.25 million a year, 8-year contract extension. He is playing on the top pairing with Darren McDonald, who is having the worst start to a season in his entire career. Matthew Siemens, the number 1 center for this team. He's 26 years old. He is an absolute monster on the ice. He has got 3 years left at 6.5, having a very bad start to the year as well. Veteran Robert Baudouin, who was brought back last season for Hamilton to essentially go on their final cup run, is actually off to an incredibly strong start. But his 3 years at 5.17 that was signed while he was with the Nashville Predators in 27-28 last season. He signed that 4-year deal, so that is going to age like milk. But Darren McDonald, just the 4 assists in the first 9 games of the season. He has taken 24 shots. Not a single one of them has gone in. This team has faced tremendous injury problems early, like losing Ryan McLeod for 6 games very early in the season. They just got him back in the 9th game of the year. Samuel Burkowal has been in and out of the lineup as well in 5 games. He does have 3 points. I believe he is currently a healthy scratch. Chris Murley, the 24-year-old left defender on the second pairing, 3 assists beside Robert Baudouin's 4. 0 defensemen have a goal in the first 9 games of the season. Jordan Gavin, who is expected to move into the top 6 in the next couple of seasons, is now straddled on that third line. He's a -2. He's got 2 goals, no assists for 2 points in the first 9 games. Alex Lundkrantz, who was very solid last season, is having a decided drop down this year. And Barrett Hayton missed 4 games due to injury as well. Emil Bemstrom is becoming an issue. He is 81 overall. He plays less than 9 minutes a game. He has just the 2 assists this year, but his $3.175 million a year contract will become problematic as the year moves on, especially considering they want to get players like Burkowell into the lineup full time. Mikhail Abramov was solid, getting a goal in his 1 game so far this year. Slav Pushkarev, he was another one that was looked at as potentially part of the future for this team. In his second season in the NHL, he had a very strong 17 goals, 28 points. He has been a minus every season of his career so far, but the 22-year-old second-round pick is on the final year of his contract. Victor Arvidsson was picked up as a veteran presence on this team in the offseason. It thus far has not worked out. He has taken 13 shots this year, and just 1 of them have gone in. Of course, Ivan Zhamnov, another super youngster for this team, 20 years old, was taken 22nd overall 2 seasons ago. He is a defensive defenseman, was already up on that second pairing, and after just 21 minutes played, was injured and will miss almost half the season. He does not return for 2 more full months. Connor Clifton missed 6 games with injury as well. He is now going to be coming back for the 10th game of the season to start November. He does have a playable injury. He has a sore knee, but will play through it because this team has too many players up against the roster. Justin Bell, the 22-year-old center. He is a center grinder. He's 77 overall. He's a -1. He's gotten into 4 games, playing about 10.5 minutes per game. Does not have a career point so far, but he does have that 1 fight. He is a very solid defensively minded grinder. Not a very solid skater. Decent physically, but he is also on an expiring contract. 4 years ago was taken 17th overall by the Hamilton Warriors. After that, we've got Slav Kolyachonok, who was picked up as he was picked up supposed to be the 7th defenseman on this team, a scratch defenseman who would come in as injury relief, but has actually worked out very well for the team thus far. In net, Paul Peru still is the starting goaltender. He has been the starting goaltender of this team for a while now, but in 6 games, he has a 4-2-0 record with 1 shutout, a .913 save percentage, and a 2.16 goals against average in those 6 games. Mats Eriksson, who could be considered the future by some, he has that elite potential. He has a 2-1-0 record with an impressive .923 save percentage, but a 2.33 goals against average. In 2 of his 3 games, he has allowed 3 goals, but only allowing 1 in that second game. Other than goaltenders, we take a look across the league, where the leader is Jack Roslovic with an absurd 20 points in 10 games, followed by Zion Nybeck with 10 goals in 11 games. Leon Draisaitl with 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points in the first 10 games for him. Ryan Chisholm, the 30-year-old veteran, he has 15. Clayton Keller with 15. Brady Tkachuk, playing for Nashville, has 14 and 9. Buchnevich with 14 and 10. Mitch Marner with 14 and 10. And Elias Lindholm with 14 in 10. So those are the stats on this team thus far. As I said, 6-3-0 record. We will be doing more stats updates as time goes on.